闇の火薬銀河よ、希望の光で折れて、我がしのりとなれ! What's up YouTube, this is Jason Undisputed22 back again with another video, and this time it's going to be a deck list sharing video. I'm going to share with you guys one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh decks of all, and that is the Galaxy Photon Dragon deck. I love this deck so much. It's one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh decks to play. I had it for like the longest time ever since I got my hands on this little boy right here, Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon, which was released in Photon Shockwave. This is the Photon Shockwave version, by the way, the Photon Shockwave ultra rare version. So you can say I had this deck for almost like a decade, because that's when this guy came out. And this deck has been really fun to play with, and and support cards on the deck is actually pretty strong, and it's actually a pretty strong rogue deck actually. But I'm quite disappointed that it cannot be competitive wise, but still it's really a fun deck to play with, and it's really strong. So yeah, let's go on to the deck list. So of course we start off with our 3 boss monster, 3 copies of Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon. No need to think why you will play 3. He's like your main centerpiece of the deck. Your deck relies on him alone. So if you don't know what it does is, you can tribute 2 monsters with 2000 or more attack on your field, special summon this card from your hand, and when this card battles an opponent's monster, so battles doesn't have to be when he attacks, or it can be when he attacks or he's being attacked, you can activate this card's effect, but target the monster that this card is battling, banish both him and the opponent's monster until the end of the battle phase, return both monsters to the field, and if the monster returned to the field is an exceed monster, he gains 500 attack for each exceed material attached to that monster. So basically he's like your lifesaver. You like when your opponent try to attack you for game, you can just banish him and the opponent's monster, and then come back to the field. And do take note of one thing, his effect doesn't special summon, it returns to the field. So your opponent drops a maxi, he does not draw 1 at all, because he returns to the field, he does not special summon back the monster to do so. Do remember that. So 3 copies of him. Next we run 3 copies of an OCG exclusive card, and that is Galaxy Ice Afterglow Dragon. I forgot to mention that do ignore, this deck is an OCG deck list, it's not a TCG, because the TCG does not have this card yet. So yeah, do take note. So this is Galaxy Ice Afterglow Dragon. So this card really strong card. This is the reason why this deck is so strong, because he's such a very strong card. So what it does is, if you control a monster, face up monster with a Galaxy Ice in the name, you special summon this card on your field in defense position. So it's Galaxy Ice monster, doesn't have to be Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon, it can be any Galaxy Ice monster. So like if you can control your Link monster with Galaxy Ice or Exceed monster with Galaxy Ice, you can just special summon this card in defense position. Then his second effect is, if you detach him as an Exceed material using an Exceed monster effect, you can activate his effect, then take 1 Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon from your deck or your hand, either special summon it or add it to an Exceed monster you control as an Exceed material. And the second thing is, if you detach him as an Exceed material from an Exceed monster, double the attack of all number monsters currently on the field. Yes, you heard that right, double the attack of all number monsters currently on the field, which makes this why this card is so strong in this deck. There's an Exceed monster in this deck that relies a lot on this card, which I will show you off later. So yeah, 3 copies of this guy. Next we run 2 copies of Galaxy Knight. So Galaxy Knight is basically your normal summon of the deck. His effect is, if you control a Photon or Galaxy monster on the field, you can normal summon this card without tribute. And if you do, have this guy lose at exactly 1000 attack, then target 1 Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. So he gets back your Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon in the graveyard, so you can go in for rank 8 plays. So yeah, 2 copies. Next we run 2 copies of Galaxy Braver. This guy is your blue ice alternative of the deck. So what it does is you can reveal to your opponent a Photon monster from your hand, then special summon this card from your hand, and this monster level becomes the same level of the monster that you revealed to your opponent. So let's say you reveal a Galaxy Eyes, so suddenly it becomes level 8, and you can target one Photon or Galaxy monster in your graveyard. This guy attack becomes the monster that you target in your graveyard. So yes, he's a free special summon, and he gains the attack of the monster that you target in your graveyard. So technically it's an alternative plus a blue ID of Blue Eyes, if you can consider that. So 3 copies of Galaxy Soldier. You need to think why this guy is so good. His effect is you can discard one another light monster you control from your hand to your graveyard, special summon this card in defense position, and if you do, and add a Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand, which what makes this card really strong. It acts as a Galaxy monster, and most of your card deck is Galaxy anime. And one thing is, he's a level 5 machine, so you already know where this is going. Level 5 machine, you already know what to summon with this guy. Next we have 2 Galaxy Wizard or Galaxy Mage, whatever you call it. So his effect is you can use each effect of this card once per turn, and his effect is once per turn you can double the level of this card, so it becomes level 4 to be level 8. Then the second effect is you can tribute this card from on the field to the graveyard. Add a Galaxy card from your deck to your hand. Doesn't have to be monster, it's a Galaxy card, so you can add a Galaxy spell or trap card from the deck to your hand, so 2 copies. Next you run 2 Photon Orbital. So Photon Orbital is basically your searcher of the deck. So what the effect is, you can target one Photon or Galaxy monster from on your field, attach this card to this card to that monster as an equip card. Then the equip monster gains 500 attack. Then you can send this card from the field to the graveyard, add a Photon or Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand, and the last effect is if that monster the attached monster will leave the field, you can send this card to the graveyard instead. So he is a protector, a searcher, and a buffer, all in one card. This is what makes the card really good. So 2 copies. Next we run 3 Photon Vanisher. This card is your free special summon of the deck, is so good. So his effect is if you control a Photon or Galaxy monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, add a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from the deck to your hand. But during the turn you special summon this card, this card cannot attack. Then the second effect doesn't really count, but sometimes it might help you instead. So the second effect is if the monster that uses this card as a seed material gains this effect. If that monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle, banish that monster instead. So yes, it's a free special summon. 3 copies of that. So 1 copy of Photon Bouncer. This guy is just an additional special summon. His effect is if you control a Photon monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if you have a Photon monster on the field, he gains 1000 attack. So it becomes a 2000 attack level 4 monster. So you can use it to tribute for your Galaxy as Photon Dragon or go for Link Summon. 1 copy of Photon Crasher. Don't need to think why, he's a Cyber Dragon. If you control normal summon, special summon this card from your hand, can be normal summon. Next we run 2 copies of Ash Blossom. Of course, why won't you run this guy? This card is lifesaver. So if your opponent activates a card that adds a card from his deck to his hand, or from deck sends it to the graveyard, you can discard this card from your hand, negate the activation. But it's only once per turn. Do remember that it's only once per turn. So if you discard one already, you cannot use the other one in hand. So yep, 2 Ash Blossom. Now we're going to the spells. We run 2 copies of Hyper Galaxy. This card is a meme or lifesaver, whatever you want to call it, but I call it a meme because this card can sometimes save lives. So his effect is a quick play spell. You can target one monster on your field with 2000 or more attack. Then target one monster on your opponent's field with 2000 or more attack. Tribute both of them. Then special summon a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from your hand, deck, graveyard. Yes, he special summons from anywhere, which what makes this card really good. So you play 2 copies of that. Next we run 2 copies of Galaxy Trance. So what the Galaxy Trance is, during the turn you activate this card, you really can special summon Photon or Galaxy monsters, minor setback, and pay 2000 life points, target a Photon monster in your graveyard, special summon in defense, then special summon a Galaxy monster from your deck that has the same level as this card, as the card is special summoned, but both their effects are negated and their attack becomes 2000. So it literally just gives you a free rank 8 or rank 4, whatever you want to summon. So yes, 2 copies of it. There is one card in the actual deck that helps you search this card. That's why I'm running 2 copies of this card. Normally people only want 1, but I run 2. 2, Galaxy Zero. This card is your searcher of the deck. So, sorry, not searcher. This card is some monster reborn of the deck. Yeah, there we go. So, you don't know what it does is, it's a quick spell. You can activate this card. Target 1 Photon or Galaxy monster on your graveyard, special summon it, and attach this card to this card. But the monster effect is negated and the monster cannot attack. But if the monster will leave the field, or destroyed by battle or send to the graveyard, you can send this card to the graveyard instead. But the monster attack becomes 0. But the interesting thing is, let's say you revive the Galaxy as Photon Dragon, he cannot attack and effects are negated. But if this card leaves the field, his attack becomes 0, but his effect comes back. So if your opponent attacks into it, you can use the effect Banish, then when it comes back, it becomes 3000 again. So yeah, that's the reason why this card is really good. It's just a monster reborn, so 2 copies of it. Next, we run 2 copies of Photon Sanctuary. This card is a no-brainer. This card is your token generator of the deck. So his effect is you can special summon 2 level 4 Photon tokens with 2000 attack and 0 defense. But during the turn activate this card, you only can special summon light monster, a small minor setback, because this card is a 2 token generator. You can use the 2 tokens to tribute special summon Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, or you can use it to link summon, of course, so 2 copies of it. Next we run 3 copies of Galaxy Expedition. This card is good. This card, his effect is if you control a level 5 or higher Photon or Galaxy monster in the field, you can activate this card, special summon a level 5 or higher Galaxy monster from your deck. But during the time activate this card, you can only special summon Photon light monsters. And the monster summon is summoned in defense position, so take note of that. And you can use 1 copy of this card per turn. So yes, 3 copies of Galaxy Expedition. Next, we are going to the staples. I'm running 2 copies of the new pot. So what he does is you can activate this card, banish target up to 3 or 6 monsters from your extra deck and banish them face up. Then from your top of your deck, mill or excavate the top of the deck equal to the same amount that you banished. Then add 1 of them to your hand, the rest return to the bottom of the deck. But during the turn you activate this card, your opponent damage taken is halved, and you cannot draw cards by card effect during this turn. So the reason why I run this card instead of all the other pots is because my deck is mainly a searching deck, because majority of the cards are search power, and I don't run any draw power cards anyway. So that's the reason why I play this pot. So this pot is actually pretty good. I may bump it up to 3 though, who knows, but I find 2 now is a better number. Next, we run 1 copy of Reinforcer of the Army or Rota, whatever you want to call it. No need to think, he searches your level 4 or lower warrior monsters. 1 copy of Monster Reborn, again, free special summon, who doesn't want that? 1 copy of Happy Feather Duster, again, to clear your opponent's spell and trap cards on the field. And lastly, we run 2 copies of Caught by the Grave. This is your lifesaver. It gets rid of Ash Blossom, gets rid of Bell Rose or whatever. It gets rid of Usagi or Snow Rabbit. So yeah, this card is your lifesaver. Too bad we only can run 2 because it's semi-limited in the OCG. I know it's limited in the TCG, which is even worse. But yes, you will still run this card because this card saves your lives. And especially in a deck that requires searches so much. If your opponent were to ash you, you are technically screwed, so you need this card to save you sometimes. So yeah, 2 copies. Next, we are going to the extra deck. We have one of my favorite numbers, 1 copy of Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon. So if you don't know what it does, is 2 level 8 monsters. During the start of either player battlefield, you can detach one material, then negate the effects of all other face-up monsters on the field except for him, and change their attack back to their original attack and defense. Then during the turn you activate this effect, if your opponent were to activate a card effect, this monster will gain an additional 1000 attack, and you can attack twice during each battle phase. That means he's a walking skill drain with an additional bonus if you manage to protect him on during your opponent's battle phase, and if your opponent activates something during the battle phase. So yeah, so one copy of this guy. Look at that, rarity is 20th secret, by the way. Ooh, we got a really high rarity. Next, one copy of number 97, Dragurion. So what this card is, 2 level 8 monster, cannot be targeted by card effects, and the second effect is you can detach one material from this card, then target 2 number dragon monsters from your extra deck, special summon one of them, then attach the other one as an exceed material. But during the turn you activate this effect, only the monster that you special summon can attack. Do take note of that. And another thing you have to take note is he's a dark, so he clashes with some of your spell and trap cards on the in your deck, so do remember that. Next we run one copy of number 90, Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord. This card is really strong in this deck. The reason why is because because of his monster negation effect and his protection effect. So what his effect is, if this guy has a photon monster acting as seed material under him, he cannot be destroyed by card effects, and once per turn during either player's turn, if your opponent activates a card effect, or monster effect, you can detach one material from this guy, negate the effects, and if the material you detach is a photon or galaxy card, destroy that card as well. So this card really strong. And the last effect is during your opponent's main phase, you can activate this effect, add a photon of galaxy card from your deck to your hand, or attach it to an exceed monster you control as an exceed material. So this card is just negation, has protection, and he's a searcher, which makes this card really strong in this deck. I love this card. Next, we go on to the main boss monster of the extra deck, which is number 62, Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon. So he's a 2 level 8 monsters, attack 4000, defense 3000, very big stats for rank 8, and it's a generic rank 8 as well. His effect is, if you do not have Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon as an acid material under him, any damage your opponent take is halved. And during the battle phase, you can detach your material, then this card gains 200 attack for each rank currently on the field. So what does that mean? If you have, let's say you have 2 exit monsters on the field, detach your material from this guy, then he gains 200 attack for each rank currently on the field. So rank 8, total 16 ranks. 16 ranks times 200 is 3200. So he's going to attack your opponent for 7200 attack. That is very big. And the last effect is, if this card is destroyed by a card effect and you have Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon as an seed material under him, you can special summon this card during your second standby phase, and his attack becomes double. That means, if let's say your opponent's bottomless trap holds you, destroy you, or banish it, you can in 2 turns special summon him back, and attack becomes 8000. But do remember one thing: if this guy doesn't have Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon under it as a seed material, whatever damage your opponent take is halved. So do remember that. And why I say that he's the boss monster of the deck is because, just imagine the material you detach was Galaxy Eyes Afterglow Dragon. So if let's say you detach Afterglow Dragon, you get a free Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from your deck, and his attack will times 2. That means, let's say if you only have him on the field, he's rank 8, so his attack will become 5600 times 2. That means your opponent is going to take 11200 damage. That is so much damage. That's the reason why I said this card is really strong, and he is the main card that this guy buffs. So yeah, one copy of Prime Photon. Next, one copy of number 38, Titanic Galaxy Not need to think why. He's a spell negation. His effect is when your opponent activates a spell card, you can negate the effect. Attach it to this card as a seed material. Then whenever your opponent declares an attack on another monster you control, you can detach one material from this guy instead. Redirect the attack to this guy. So that's why 1 copy. Next we run 1 copy of Galaxy Eyes Full Armored Photon Dragon. So if you don't know what it does, it's 3 level 8 monsters, but you won't be using that to summon him instead. Because his second effect is if you control a Galaxy Eyes Photon monster on the field, you can rank it up on top of this guy. Sorry, not Galaxy Eyes Photon, it's Galaxy Eyes monster on the field. So you can rank it up on top of this guy. Then his effect is you can detach one material from this card, target a face up card on the field your opponent controls and destroy it. So basically he's just a rank up and a free detach destroy, and he's a 4k big stick, so he's really good. Next, we cannot have a Galaxy Eyes Galaxy Eyes deck without Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon. So his effect is you can detach one material from this card, target one monster your opponent controls, then until the end of this turn, negate the effects of that monster and take control of it. His name becomes this guy's name, and his attack becomes 3000. So what does that mean? Let's say if I take control of let's say Titanic Galaxy or something, take control of him, Titanic Galaxy will become his name, so and his attack becomes 3000. So that means if the monster you stole is a Exceed monster which doesn't have the requirement of he cannot be used as a seed material, you can just use that monster and rank it up to Full Armored Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. So technically you take control of your monster and the monster becomes yours permanently because you rank it up into Full Armored Photon Dragon, which one makes these cards really good. So 1 copy of him is just fine. Next we run 1 copy of Divine Knight Felgrand. Felgrand is basically generic rank 8 that can negate monster effects. So his effect is during either player's turn, you can detach one material from this card. 2 level 8 monsters by the way. Target 1 monster on the field, either yours or your opponent. Negate the effect of that monster until the end of the turn. But during the rest of the turn, that monster is unaffected by card effects, which makes this card really good. You can do whatever you want. You can protect your own cards. You can negate your opponent's monster effects. Yes, really good. And he detaches any time of the turn. It's once per turn, which is what makes this card really good. So 1 copy. Next we run 1 copy of Cyber Dragon Nova. Of course, why wouldn't you run Cyber Dragon Nova? You play Galaxy Soldier level 5 machine. You know why? And he has this special effect is if this card is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can target 1 fusion monster from your extra deck and summon it, but most of the time your opponent won't pop this thing anyway. It's stupid if he does that. And since you're running Nova, you are going to run 1 copy of Cyber Dragon Infinity. Of course, the Nova Infinity pair. If you don't know what it does, is he gains 200 attack for each exit material attached to him, and you can rank up. You can use Cyber Dragon Nova you control to exit summoning into him. And his second effect is whenever your opponent activates a card effect, you can detach one material from this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. And the last effect is you can target 1 attack position monster you control, attach that monster to this card, except as seed material. So he basically negates, he pumps himself up because for each material he gets 200, and he's easy to summon after you summon Nova, and that's the reason why you run Galaxy Soldier in this deck, because yeah, he basically summons these 2 out. Next we run 1 copy of 4-star Leech Photon Blast Dragon. So this is your only rank 4 of the deck. His effect is 2 level 4 monsters, he's the dragon, and his effect is all monsters you control with 2000 or more attack cannot be targeted and destroyed by opponent's card effect, which is really good. He gives protection to your monsters. And most of the time your monsters will be 2000 or more attack anyway. But the sad thing is he's 1800 attack and 2500 defense. He does not protect himself, sadly, but it doesn't matter because his effect is quite good. And his effect is when this card exceeds summon, you can target 1 Photon or Galaxy monster you control, spend summon it to your field. And Last effect is during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can detach one material from this card. Target one Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon from your graveyard, special summon it. So he's a revival, the free spawn, and he's a protection, which makes this card really good for one copy. Next we run one copy of Hoshi Ningen. He basically buffs all the light monsters on the field, so his effect is 2 light monsters, and his effect is all light monsters currently on the field gain 500 attack, and all dark monsters on the field loses 400 attack. And when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a light monster from your graveyard back to your hand. So he's a recycler as well, so yes, one copy of him. Next we run one copy of Galaxy Ice Setter Light Dragon. This is the meme card of the extra deck. I like this card a lot. So if you don't know what it does is his retirement is 2 dragon monsters, and his effect is once per turn you can tribute this card on the field. You can tribute this card, then target one number dragon exceed monster you control. During the turn, your opponent damage taken will be halved, but your number dragon monster you control attack becomes his number times 100. That means, let's say if I target a Galaxy Ice Tachyon Dragon, so his number is 107, right? His attack will be 107 times 100. That means 107. His attack will be 10,700, which is a massive amount of damage. So just imagine that, a Tachyon Dragon attacking your opponent for 10,700. That is very big. And what happens if you detach Afterglow Dragon for his effect? That means your attack is going to be doubled. That means 10,700 times 2 would be 21,400. That is a massive damage. But do take note that whatever damage your opponent takes is half, so do remember that. And the last effect is, if this card is on the field until the end of your opponent's turn, you can take one card from the deck. Any card, doesn't have to be a spell, monster, or any card from the deck. Put it at the top card of your deck. That means basically you can add any card from the deck to your hand to the top of the deck. The next time you draw the card. So one copy of this card. I don't really use him much because he needs 2 dragon monsters to summon him. That's very painful. You don't really run a lot of dragons in this deck. So yeah. Lastly, we run 2 copies of Galaxy Ice Soul Flare Dragon. This is the link monster of the deck. It's very strong. His effect is his summoning requirement is 2 monsters, including 1 monster with 2,000 or more attack. And his effect is, if this card is link summoned, you can target a light monster, Galaxy or Photon monster from graveyard, add it back to your hand. Then his second effect is, you can, during your opponent's turn, during your opponent's main phase, you can discard 2 Photon or Galaxy cards from your hand to the graveyard, or 1 Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon from your hand. Then target one of your opponent's special summon attack variation monsters, destroy it. So basically he is your disruptor of the deck, and he can get back literally any light card any Galaxy or Photon monster from your graveyard to your hand. You can add back a Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon that you use it to link summon or exceed summon. Then you can just use it to discard from your hand to form a card on opponent's field. So yeah, 2 copies of Galaxy Ice Soul Flare Dragon, really strong as a link monster, really buffs the deck a lot. So yes, this is the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it a lot. This is one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh decks that I played with for a while in the game. One of my favorite decks of the game. I'm hoping they get more support soon, because this deck has a lot of potential to be meta. It's very disappointing that it's not meta, and I really love to one day see it as a meta deck. It has so much potential, but this deck really is actually really strong. It can actually fight. It can actually fight the meta actually, if you actually give it a try. Because of this card just buffs the deck so much. This card came out last year in the gold box, and this one card can buff the deck so much and makes the deck so much stronger. So yeah, I hope so. This is my deck profile of my Galaxy Photon Dragon deck. OCG list, by the way, because I'm in Singapore. Singapore people we play Japanese, we play OCG, so do take note of that. So yes, so this is my deck. List, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please stay tuned for more videos from me. The next video I'll be doing might be another product opening, or maybe gameplay videos. I'll be doing gameplay videos as well, so please stay tuned for that as well. If you like what you see today, please comment, rate, comment, and subscribe, and give a thumbs up if you like what you see. And please let me know in the comments what do you think of my deck list, and what deck you would like to see next. Currently I have a Blue Eyes deck, Dark Lords deck. I have a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh decks. Just name me some decks in the comments. Maybe I have the deck, I can do a deck profile of it as well. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Jason Undisputed 22 signing off.